Hi, welcome to Coach Carl's Tennis at Home series. We're looking at a series of indoor challenges at the moment, so things that you can do in a very confined space. And today we're going to have a look at consistency. This is the ability tennis players need to be able to repeatedly hit balls and to hit those balls accurately to where they want them to go on the court. That helps them to stay in the point, stay in the rally, and look for opportunities to try and get into a winning position. Now, to help us today, we're going to use a series of household objects, so things you'll need to find before we start. See if you can find yourself a tape measure, we'll need something like that. And some markers that you could put down on the floor, they could be beakers or books, something of that nature. You'll need some balls, ideally about 6 balls, but it could be a mixture of balls and possibly rolled up socks. And you see here we've got some beakers as well. We're going to use these as floor markers at times. You might use some other object as well. And of course, don't forget the racket, or we could use a saucepan. So, go and find those objects and then we'll get on with the challenge. So for our first challenge today, or first set of challenges today, you can see that there are a couple of beakers on the floor. They're representing our goal, so the area we've got to try and get the ball through. And then running up the side here, we've got a tape measure laid out. So it's laid out at 3 metres in length, and there's a marker at each 1 metre space. So this marker here is 1 metre away from the goal. This one here is 2 metres away from the goal, and this one here is 3 metres away from the goal. Now it may well be that you have a bigger hallway, so you can go even further back, but if you want to try and match with the distances that I've got in my hallway, then I've got about a 3 metre length. So get yourself set up and then we'll have a look at the challenge. So our very first challenge, we've got some goalposts down here represented by our beakers on the floor. You can see they're about 3 planks apart, so quite wide at the moment. And what we're going to try and do, just using our ball and our hand, is to get yourself into ready position. We're around about the 1 metre marker, so just 1 metre away from the goal. Ready position, just turn, place the ball on the floor, and then push through the goal. Recover back to your ready position. So if you manage that from the 1 metre mark, go back to your 2 metre mark and try the same thing. Now the important thing here is that when you're in your ready position, turn to the side, keep your hand slightly laid back and don't flick the ball. Push it and keep that push going all the way through the shot. So here we go, so turn to the side, ball on the floor, and then recover back to your ready position. So if you manage from 2 metres, what about from the 3 metre position? We're a bit further away now. So once again, ready position, turn to the side, ball on the floor, cover back to your position. So one way you can make this more challenging is to obviously narrow the gap in the goal. Now we could go down to 2 planks wide. In this case we've just sped up a little bit, we've gone down to 1 plank wide. So trying to do the same sort of thing, but now through a much tighter gap. So ready position, turn to the side and push that ball through. Let's try from a bit further away. Ready position, turn to the side, and we get the long one. Ready position, turn to the side, ball on the floor, straight through. So what about now trying it with a racket and a ball instead of just your hand? Now you can see here the racket I've got is almost as wide as my hallway, so I'm having to hold the handle much further up, more towards the throat of the racket, just to try and shorten it a little bit for me. Give me a little bit more space to work. Right, so ready position, we're going to turn, ball on the floor, and then recover back position again, ball on the floor. So from the 3 metre position, it's much tougher now to keep that ball going straight. Starts off nice ready position, ball out to the side, and then push that racket through and recover. So another nice little drill you can try whilst you're still working on the floor is to create yourself a little tin can alley. So you see here we've used some beakers to create a little tower, and we're going to just try and push a ball from the 3 metre distance and see how many we can get over. Ball on the floor, remember keep your racket strings parallel with the target, don't flick the hand, think of it being more pushed down the court. Okay, so see how many you can get. So for this next challenge, we've replaced our beakers with a container. So we're now going to try and get a ball into the container. We're going to try first of all with out of bounds, and in this case we're just using a laundry basket as our container, but it could be anything. If you've got a bucket, a washing up bowl, anything like that would do. So we're going to go back to our 3 metre mark. Now what we want to try and avoid is throwing where we're just forward facing, this type of throw here, facing and throwing like that. So although it went into the bucket, it's not quite a tennis related movement. So what we want to be instead is in a tennis related position. So what you want to start with is ball out in front, nice ready position, knees flexed, and we're going to turn to the side, what they call a unit turn, and then swing through into the bucket like that. Now of course if you don't have a ball, you can still try this exercise. Use a pair of rolled up socks or a bean bag or something similar. So let's have a go with some rolled up socks, turn to the side, and there they go, straight in the basket. So this next one's quite tricky because we're now going to try and see if we can use a racket to get the ball in. So we're going to try first of all as a volley type action. So that means that we're not going to let the ball bounce. So ready position, turn to the side, throw the ball up, and then try and get the ball in to the basket that way. If you don't have access to a racket but you do have something like a saucepan, you could try that instead. Hand nice and firm, use the base of the saucepan, push upwards, and there we go, straight in. So moving on, we're going to try now with a bounce. So we have to let the ball bounce and then hit it in straight into the basket. So turn to the side, let the ball bounce on the floor, hit up, there we go, straight into the basket. So final couple of challenges. Remember at the start I said about having 6 balls. So if you find 6 balls, you can use 6 pair of rolled up socks, certainly for this first one. More difficult for the next one coming up, but certainly for this one you could use rolled up socks instead. You'll need your racket or your saucepan, and we're going to see how many balls out of the 6 we can get into the basket consistently. So they must go in the basket and stay in to count. So if you manage to get anywhere with the volley, try now bouncing the ball first and trying to hit it after the bounce into the basket. It's a little bit more tricky, make sure you push those strings up, so you're pushing upwards. Oh, we got 4 out of 6 that time. You have a go, see how you get on. Hope you enjoyed those challenges. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll hope to see you next time for some more fun challenges at home.